Why isn't your partner listening to you? Or your boss, or your mother-in-law, or your kid, or your best friend? You got these great suggestions. You're just trying to help. Why won't they listen? I'm going to teach you right now. And the big secret is that you've been giving suggestions at the wrong time. So I'm going to teach you why that's true and what to do about it right now. So basically, I've said this a million times before, we are very much hardwired like we were literally the last 200,000 years, millions of years really if you think about it. But this is humans. And since the earth has been around a long time, we have not been around a long time in comparison, maybe 200,000 years versus about 4 billion. So you can see we haven't evolved to a place that's more modern and having these kind of conversations we're having. So we're really reacting like we would have hundreds of thousands of years ago, millions of years ago really, but let's say even 200,000. So here's how I want you thinking, that when anything is stressing us, anything at all, it doesn't matter if it's big, if it's small, it could be a death in the family to leaving the cap off the toothpaste if your partner keeps doing that. Anything that's a stressor, our brains treat as an emergency. And so they immediately go to that place. And you have to remember that an emergency for our brain used to mean life or death. Literally, anytime we were stressed, anytime we were worried, it meant, the crops weren't coming in and we were going to die. It meant there was a storm coming and we might die. It meant that there was a predator about to eat me and I might die. So everything that happens physiologically is related to that. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. So, sorry, itchy nose. So I want you to realize that if your boss says to you, hey, I want to see you in my office at 2 and it's 9 in the morning, you know that feeling you get like your stomach's dropping out? You know what I'm talking about. That is actually the blood rushing to your legs to run. Yeah, very old response. That feeling you don't want to eat anything, because of course, if you're running from a tiger, you shouldn't have, be eating something. So all that goes away. Your pupils dilate so you can run in the dark. You might not even know that happens because you might not realize it. Your breathing becomes shallow and faster so that you can run faster. You start to sweat maybe when you get nervous and somebody says something like that, something upsetting to you. And of course, that is so that you can, again, can cool off your system. It's also so that your skin is slick. And if something tried to grab you, it would hopefully slide off. We have all manner of reactions. And the biggest one is that hormones, stress-inducing hormones, come dumping into the system, telling us to run, getting us from a relaxed state of maybe we were hanging around outside, with the clan, to, oh my God, there's something about to eat me, I have to run right now. You can't stop and think. You can't make decisions. You just have to react. It has to be very quick. So stress-inducing hormones like cortisol and epinephrine, which is commonly called adrenaline, come flooding into your system. Now, the same thing also happens if, I don't know, maybe you notice your partner's in a, kind of acting quiet in the morning and you're both going off to work and you say, hey, are you okay? And they say, well, actually, I've got some things on my mind. I need to talk to you later, but I have to go to work, so we'll talk when I get home. Forget it. You're just like the boss saying, I'll meet you at 2 for a meeting. Our systems react as if we're about literally like to die. Like this is a huge stressor. So you get all those same reactions. Maybe you're not hungry all of a sudden. And if you notice you can't concentrate very well, you're having trouble focusing on anything else and not going back and not going into that negative spiral, the death spiral I call it, of like, I'm going to get fired, my partner's going to leave me, I'm going to be homeless, I'm living in a box under a bridge. We go to all the places, and that is because those hormones are racing around your system telling you to run. And what you're doing is standing there or trying to, open an Excel sheet at your desk or whatever, trying to make dinner, whatever the thing is. And it is very disturbing to your system. So same thing happens when your partner is maybe upset about something, or your boss, anybody. I'm going to keep saying partners, so I don't have to keep saying everybody, but this is anybody who's upset. You're in a conversation with them. And maybe they're complaining to you about something that happened at work today, or a problem they're having with the kids, or maybe they're saying, oh, I've gained some weight, I really want to lose this weight. And you start jumping in with all the great suggestions, all the great things they can do. And it's a problem, isn't it? You're not watching this because it goes easy. You're watching this because it's a problem every time. And you notice that they maybe either reject everything you say. They get, like, I can't do that, or I already tried that. That's not working. You don't understand, right? You get this thing and you're thinking, I totally understand. I have great ideas. Maybe you've even been successful at the thing they're struggling with. Maybe you've already lost weight yourself and you're going to help them lose weight the way you did. Maybe they even asked for your opinion. Hey, you've lost weight. I'm having a lot of trouble. Can you help me? And then next thing you know, you're saying things like, I can't do that. I can't wake up earlier. I can't do that. No, I have to make food for the kids, so that's too impossible. I can't make. And they're giving you all this stuff. In that moment, you've got to realize, even if they're acting calm, that they think there's a tiger about to eat them. And you are being all kinds of rational and lovely, and that part of their brain isn't working. So when we are running from the tiger, when we are super stressed, a part of our brain called our amygdala, which is part of the limbic system, lights up. And this is the place where fear and aggression and all that stuff, this is your brain's, this is what watches the environment all the time for any disturbance, anything negative, anything that could hurt it, any threat. And so what happens when the amygdala is lit up, the only things you can do are fight, flight, or freeze. You know those. That's the only things your system, your brain can think to do. So it's when you are giving all these suggestions to your friend and they're in fight, flight, or freeze, they're either going to fight with you about it, they're going to withdraw, they're going to run away or avoid the conversation, or they might even ask you, can we meet today to talk about this? And then they start avoiding you. Or they might do the freeze, which is really kind of the, okay, sure, and then don't do a thing. Any of those are from there, because the part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, where all your good thinking is, your judgment, your long-term planning, your problem solving, we call it your rational brain or your executive functioning, that part of the brain can't light up when the amygdala is lit up. When that fight, flight, or freeze is going on, and that makes sense, because if you're running from something that's going to kill you, you don't want to sit and construct a PowerPoint presentation about it. You have to be in that emergency mode. You have to be in the relaxed mode for the problem solving to come on. So what you got to do is get people before any suggestions happen, right? Because they're Teflon for suggestions and advice at this point, because that other part of the brain is on and they can't even think about the problem solving. This is also why you yourself have been in an argument and you forgot all the great tools Abby taught you about how to deal in an argument. It's because your brain literally gets hijacked, literally. So what you got to do is get the person from that amygdala, fear, fight, flight, or freeze brain into that thinking, rational, calmer prefrontal cortex problem-solving brain. And the way you do that is this. You tell them that you see the tiger. I call it say yes first. So I want your reaction always when someone's talking about anything is to say yes first, meaning that the first thing you do is you empathize and you say back the feeling that you're hearing. So it might be, oh God, Bob at work again? Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks. I say that sucks a lot because it's usually true. Ooh, you've got 9 chapters to do on your math test? Yikes. Oh my gosh. Wow, let me look at those. Oh, I'm sorry. It's really hard for me to watch you in pain about, what your sister said to you. I can't imagine how much that must hurt. It's just noticing their feeling and agreeing, and saying yes to it. I see it. I see the tiger with you. That's what you're saying. And you're empathizing with them. It does not mean you agree with them. This is where people argue with me a lot. They're thinking, well, I don't think it's reasonable that they're so upset, or that they're upset over and over and over about their sister. That's not what it's about. It's about that they have the right to feel this, because they do. And are you trying to be correct or effective? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy is really what I'm asking you. And you could be right that complaining over and over isn't helpful, but I would tell you that part of the reason that's happening is because effective problem solving isn't happening, and this is the way to get there. So when you say, I hear you, I see the tiger with you, what happens is, and I want to say this too, you have to match emotion but not tone. So you match the emotion of what you're seeing, the pain, the upset, the anger, the whatever. I'd be really pissed too if that happened. Wow, I can imagine. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But you don't match tone. The other person might be very agitated and very upset. They might even be yelling. You don't want to match that tone. So the emotion, but not the tone. So it's, wow, that really sucks. I'm so sorry. Not, oh my God, that sucks. What are you going to do? You don't want to get in the hysteria, obviously, because that's going to create a lot of problems. So once you've done that, you will notice, I'm telling you, you'll notice it every time the other person relaxes, because you see the tiger with them. And I want to say, this is also why you can't dismiss their feelings. You can't say like, it's going to be fine, don't worry, rubbing their back, it's okay, don't worry, that kind of thing. Just forget about it. You got to think of something else. This isn't helping you. Doing that is also telling them that you don't see the tiger. Every way that you tell them you don't see the tiger is only going to make them think, number one, they can't trust you. You don't have their back. That you don't understand, all those things. And if you think about it, you might notice that that's what's happening in the relationship. They might have even said that to you. You don't understand. You're not listening to me. They might have even said it. It's because you got to show them you see the tiger. Got to show them so that they can relax and think of that. When you see that, when someone else sees what you see as a danger or problem, you relax. You feel like, okay, you still have the problem, but you're not as scared, you're not as escalated, you're not as elevated, because you feel like there's finally support. Oh, okay, maybe we can come up with a solution. And from there, and only from there, I still encourage you not to make suggestions or give advice, because as I say all the time, don't sack your relationship, don't offer suggestions, give advice, or criticize. At this point, what you really want to do is ask what I call collaborative questions. Ask things. Wow, so, gosh, you're still going through this with Bob at work. What have you tried? Is there anything that's worked remotely? Or one of my favorites is to ask people what hasn't worked. People love to share what hasn't worked, but it gets them talking. It gets them into problem-solving mode. And so they can list that. If they're telling you what hasn't worked, like, I tried talking to my boss about Bob, but he won't listen. You might say, hey, you said you talked to your boss. Tell me more about that. It's asking a question. Tell me more about what happened in that interaction. How did your boss react? When did you go to them? Because there might be a problem solving in there. What you're doing is looking to really help this other person, whoever it is, your partner, your boss, whoever, have their own aha. You can't give anyone an aha. Everybody knows how to lose weight. There's no magic to it. Everybody knows. So if your partner or whoever isn't doing it, it's not because they don't know. So your fabulous suggestions about parking farther away and, getting a buddy and whatever aren't helping because they already know it. So what's really going on is this fear about it and these other things. And again, their own internal kind of coming to their own, I call it a come to Jesus moment about what they have to do or not do. But otherwise it becomes a power struggle with you, and that is the last thing you want. So you want to ask those questions. And a warning to some of you, I know you're going to do this, is to not disguise advice as a question. Have you tried this? What did you think about that? You're cheating. Those are suggestions and advice. Leave them out. Just ask these questions. Is there any one thing I could do for you right now to help? If there's one thing I could say that would make the situation better, what would it be? These are the collaborative questions you want to ask. For more information, you can check out my website, abbymedcalf.com. I help people create love, connection, and ease in every relationship.